Hey everybody, welcome into the NJCAA Network studio here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're getting ready for our ESPN Plus game of the week this weekend. It is Snow and Georgia Military, and joining us now is the Snow Badgers head coach, Zac Erekson. Coach, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for being with us.
Yeah, glad to be here.
First things first, let's talk about the excitement for another ESPN Plus game for you guys to get that publicity on the national stage for junior college against another top-ranked opponent. It seems like you're playing a top 15 team every single week in a tough Georgia Military squad.
Yeah, we're super excited to be back on ESPN. We've always loved the opportunity. You know, when the NJCAA first partnered with ESPN a few years ago, we've been really fortunate to play a lot of these games, whether at home or on the road, on ESPN. And so we're super excited to be able to have that exposure again. We love being able to travel out to these amazing programs, you know, as we've been independent over the last 6 or 7 years, being able to play the Georgia Militaries and the Iowa Westerns and, you know, some of these other top programs. We've built some really good relationships with them, and we've played some really good football games against them as well. And so we're expecting nothing less than another great football game as we get ready to travel down to Milledgeville and be able to take on, you know, Coach Manchester and those guys. And it's a tough place to play. Our kind of joke is that field slopes about 5 feet from one end zone to the other. And if you've never been out there, you always want to go towards the building to go uphill early, and you always want to go away from the building late. So that's kind of the joke as we get ready to head out there to Milledgeville.
Yeah, that coin toss is a lot more important now. Let's talk about the bye week. You got a little bit of a break after that Iowa Western matchup. What were the big areas you guys wanted to work on?
I think first and foremost, we wanted to get as healthy as we could. We had a couple of guys banged up. Our starting left tackle started that game against Iowa Western, and about 2 series in, wasn't going to be able to finish the game. You know, we probably could have kept him out there. We just didn't feel he was our best option as he was nursing a little bit of a shoulder injury. And so, you know, getting him and other guys back to being as healthy as possible. You know, our running back went down on the second drive there as well. He's back and fully healthy. And so being able to get those guys back was probably first and foremost of making sure we were healthy in that sense. And then, you know, I think in each season, you know, especially you get kind of that midway point, it's always a good time to do some self-scout. And so we spent a lot of time evaluating ourselves and kind of what we were doing, as well as being able to get ready to be prepared for Georgia Military. But a lot of introspection this weekend, why some of these things this season haven't gone our way, right? We've struggled, especially offensively. In that Iowa Western game, we ended up with a net 287 rushing yards or something like that. We actually ran, if you take away the 2 sacks, we ran for 310 yards and had 3 points to show for it. And so we've got to figure out, how do we eliminate penalties, right? We got down to 1st and goal from the 5. We threw a bad pitch to a running back and then had a hold call. We have another opportunity where we get inside the red zone, we get a late hit call. And so trying to figure out how to eliminate kind of the things that we're doing that are hurting ourselves, right? I mean, obviously, especially when you're playing top teams like Western and Georgia Military and Tyler, right? They're going to do a lot of good things, but we had to find a way to eliminate hurting ourselves as we play these games. And so, a lot of time went into that, and we spent a lot of time with our guys over the course of the last 10, 11 days, trying to build some self-accountability in those areas to make sure that as we go forward and finish out the rest of the season, we can eliminate those things that are hurting ourselves in those tough games.
Yeah, that's a really good segue, because despite the loss in that Iowa Western game, I mean, defense played pretty good as well. You had two of the first 3 drives ended in turnovers with the takeaways from that Badgers defense. So what is the balance of kind of focusing on the positives from those games and then moving into scouting for the next game?
Yeah, like you said, we scored 2 defensive touchdowns against Iowa Western, right? I'll tell you this, if you would have told me, hey, you're going to go up 9-0, your defense is going to score 2 touchdowns, and you're going to rush for over 275 yards, I would have told you, Strohmeyer would have told you, we probably would win that game. Everybody in the nation probably would tell you we'd win that game. And so while there were a lot of positive things in that game, we've tried to, we kind of have a philosophy in our program. Look, we're going to correct, pointedly, but also understanding that we have to play another game. And so while we do that, we have to build our kids up in that same process. And so being able to highlight some of those things, I mean, we've talked about both of those things ad nauseum this week of eliminating the negatives that we're putting on ourselves, but look what we're doing in a positive way, right? Not many teams have done that to the number 2 team in the country. And so we've got to take that, build upon that while eliminating those other things. And I think that if we can do those things, right, we're going to get out there to Georgia, and we're going to have another great opportunity if we can continue to build on the positive things we're doing while eliminating, some of those silly, foolish mistakes that we have that are all self-imposed.
Well, Coach, I'd be remiss not to ask you about the opportunity to join the Southwest Junior College Football Conference next year. Obviously, a really big step for this Snow College program. So what are your thoughts on it, and what were your thoughts originally when you heard of the opportunity?
This was, in a otherwise kind of frustrating season for us, this has been the most amazing thing. I've been here for every season of independence. That first year, I was an assistant where we played 8 games, and we were all over the country from, back when we had ASA Miami, we played Garden City, we played Lackawanna. I mean, we played everybody, and we were only able to get 8 games. Now we've kind of formed those relationships where, we've been able to play 10, 11 games each of the last couple of years, maybe a non-NJCAA game here. But I will tell you that by far is the hardest part of my job is scheduling. Because we're kind of a product of our own success, where a lot of teams don't want to play us because it doesn't benefit them, as well as the travel. We're kind of out here on an island by ourselves, and so that travel hurdle has also been part of it. So this is something that we have been trying desperately for the last 4 or 5 years, whether it was Kansas, whether it was Texas, and fortunately for us, our former athletic director, Rob Nilsson, had a fantastic relationship with a lot of people in the NJCAA throughout the conferences, and he kind of got this thing started. And then our new athletic director, Karen Johnson, and our new president, Stacy McKiff, they kind of finished the deal off, and we're super grateful for both of them to put forth the effort and do what it takes for us to be able to go and join this great league. I think you look at the teams that are down there in Texas. I mean, this year Tyler is amazing. Navarro is always up there, Trinity Valley, and then the tradition that you get with the Kilgores and even the Nimmies and the success that they've had. I mean, across the board, Blinn, Cisco, I mean, everybody else in that conference. And I think you throw us into that mix, and I think we have an argument that we're maybe the best junior college football conference in the country now. And so we're looking forward to those weekly battles, week in and week out. And anybody that knows Texas football knows that it's a whole nother beast down there. I've been fortunate enough to be, I coached high school football in Texas for 8 years. All my kids were born in Texas. We still have a lot of family in Texas. And so there's kind of that other aspect of it, as well as being able to spend a lot of time there in Texas personally. And so we are so looking forward to hopefully bringing our, tradition and success into that wildly successful conference down there in Texas.
Yeah, I think any way you slice it, it's a great move for the competition of junior college football to have all of that talent in that conference, and it is going to be a lot of fun to see how it plays out. So last thing I had for you, Coach Erekson, give us a couple players to watch this weekend, both for the fans and for some four-year schools that might be on the lookout.
We kind of always start up front, right? Our right tackle, Sakope Wallace, is one of the best offensive tackles in the country. And then you go left of him, and those guys don't get a lot of love. A lot of people want to talk about quarterbacks, the running backs, the defensive backs. For us, I always want to start up front, right? We got, Erise at right guard, and we got Mile Fanua at center. We got Gabe Ofisa at left guard, and we got James Aliso, our left tackle that's back. For us, our success starts with those 5. And I know that they're not the flashy guys that people are going to watch, but I can tell you this, if those 5 guys play well, which they have all year, we're going to have a chance. And then I think from there, we're actually getting I don't know that a lot of people know. I mean, if you've been paying attention, we've played 3 different quarterbacks, but actually our starting quarterback that was the guy broke his collarbone in the second drive against Tyler. He is cleared and back and should be behind center as we get to Milledgeville. So we're excited about that. That's a really big, thing for our program to have Jace Welch back. Anybody that's been watching, Seth Rigtrup, our running back, is an animal, and he, again, should be back and healthy from getting banged up there against Iowa Western. Junior Kafusi on the D-line, TJ, free safety, Jaden Robinson at corner. We got a lot of guys that, are coming into their own, right? We weren't necessarily young, but we were inexperienced, right, coming into this year for our team's expectation. But a lot of those guys that I mentioned, along with everybody else, I mean, we're pretty deep, I think, this year. We just haven't been able to put some of those pieces together at the right time. But we're looking forward to getting behind those 5 offensive linemen again and seeing if we can control the line of scrimmage.
I can't wait for it. It's going to be a lot of fun this weekend. Thank you so much, Coach, for hopping on with us, and we appreciate you. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
All right, folks, reminder, Saturday, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, it's Snow and Georgia Military, one of the top junior college matchups of the weekend. Be sure you're tuning in on ESPN+.